I want to have a little chat today about something that's increasingly making me uncomfortable, and it's the kind of monetization of communities, friendship making groups, clubs, whatever, and socials. So I'm noticing I get a lot of targeted Instagram ads at the moment for all these new social groups, communities, and apps that have popped up, and it's always kind of along the same uh lines of kind of advertising they use. It's like, are you in your 20s and 30s? Do you want to make friends? Oh, it's so hard to make friends as an adult. Do you want to find your girl tribe? Do you want to find your community? Then we've got you. I'm like, great, this looks really cool. This looks really fun. Click into it. It's an app, a WhatsApp group, a website, Discord, whatever. And it's like 50 blimmin' quid to join. And then every event they host, whether it's outside somewhere for free, like in a park or in a venue, is paid for as well. And I'm like, hold on a minute, why are you advertising this as a community when really at the end of the day it's a business? It's a for-profit business and it's very exploitative. So I've done a little bit of research. There are so many of them popping up at the moment, and I've only used one of them, and the group itself to join, it's on Facebook, is free. But again, they do have a lot of paid stuff, and I've only ever been to one of their events. This is why, because it was absolutely outrageous. They did an event that was a walk at a local park, which is obviously free to enter, and they were charging 2 to 3 quid for tickets to attend. And I'm like, why am I paying money to go for a walk together in a free park? Because then it's obviously for profit. So I went to one of those, I was like, I'm not doing that again. Like, that is just such a scam. And it's just totally against what I believe in. So I've done a bit of research. So one of them I get adverts for a lot is We Got You Boo. And that one has a one-time membership fee that's usually £69, but now it's £59. And that gives you access to book on to their events. And this is a thing, some of their events are still paid. So it's double dipping. So they're getting the money from the membership, and then they're going to be getting the money from the events you go to. And they seem to do some really, this is another thing I've noticed, really flashy events. There's a lot of girls' holidays, girls' retreats. So I feel like some of these so-called friendship building communities are literally just like travel companies in disguise, because I noticed that so much. It's like girls' trip to the Maldives, girls' retreat here, and it's hundreds and hundreds or thousands of pounds, and most of the time for a shared room. For that price, you're not even getting your own room, you're sharing with a stranger. I'm like, oh my god, this is just so predatory to me. So yeah, that one is currently £59. I've seen one, there's like a reading romantasy retreat that was around 300 for, again, a shared room, and that was like a few days. I think it was 3-4 days in like an English cottage. Again, it I wouldn't mind so much if these were marketed, say, as events, because obviously events you pay for. So like, you see a brunch advertised, bottomless brunch, you expect to pay for it. What makes me uneasy is the fact they're framing it as building a community. I'm like, how are we building a community when the base of it is a business? That is not a community, that is a paid for club, which is fine. Just say you're a members club. Don't try and frame it as this other little wholesome thing. But anyway, also book clubs. Notice a lot of book clubs have popped up, and I did join one when I first moved to the city. I did join one, but in the end I left it, because that one you had to pay £10 a month to be a member, and that didn't even include the book. So again, literally £10 a month to just be able to be around other people that enjoy reading books. And I was just like, no, for me personally, that's not worth it. But I noticed paid book clubs are becoming more often, and usually I feel like that's something historically that's been free, so that's been monetized. Everything in this freaking late capitalistic hellscape is monetized. I'm so fatigued about it. One I did want to shout out that I found was called Let's Go Adventure Club. That was all free, which was good. Well, to join anyway. They didn't have a membership fee, and they tended to focus on like free meetups, like hikes and stuff like that. So I thought, okay, that's the way to do it, especially when you're in an outdoor place that you haven't paid to have exclusive use of. Why would you charge people for that? I just think that's so cheeky and so exploitative. There was one called Where Friends Grow, and this one was a little bit odd because it actually had different tiers of membership, so like different levels of DLC. So the cheapest one was £5, and that just allowed you to go to the coffee meetups and the hikes. Then they had one for 20, and then the highest one was like £50, which allows you to everything. So that one, yeah, is a tiered one. It's like, well, if you're a poor and you can only afford £5, you can't come to our nice events. You just have to put up with the blooming coffees and the hikes. But I was just like, and that one as well was a non for profit, which I thought was even weirder that they were charging. Yeah, that was very strange. I saw this was the worst one I saw. There was a particular supper club. This one was in London. And again, if it was framed as a dinner party, an event, or, a meal tasting event, I think it would be appropriate to charge this. But this, again, was marketed as meet friends, a supper club, £70. £70 to meet friends. Or, let's be realistic, meet strangers that you don't even know that you're going to get on with. This is the other thing. When people are paying these crazy high prices for these things, you're not even guaranteed to make friends at the end of it. It's just such a risk and such a gamble I'm not willing to take, is to spend £70 to go about and meet people, and then you may not even get on with them. That for me is like, say if you went on a date and it went really bad, but you went to like a nice restaurant, you would regret that in the end. You're like, oh my gosh, I just paid like £100 bill for food with someone I don't even like. That's the other thing that I kind of take issue with these so-called communities and friendship apps and clubs. Especially making friends in your 20s and 30s is so hard, and we know there is an insane loneliness epidemic going on in that age range as well. So that's why I find it particularly exploitative as well, because I know people are going to be lonely and probably quite desperate, so they're going to be willing to pay these crazy prices. But how kind of making a friendship works in general is seeing someone repeatedly in the same time, the same place on a regular basis. So that's why I take issue with these, because it's not like you can pay and go to a one-off event and you're going to make friends off of that. Maybe if you're very, very lucky, you can, but it's most likely you're going to have to keep going to events to be around the same people to be able to build those relationships. So again, you're just going to have to pay, and just keep paying for different events, and that's how they're going to make their profit. And again, I just find that problematic, because to me, that falls under networking more to me than actually building community. Because you see a lot of these kind of business, professional networking events, they're paid for, fine. That's what it falls under for me. When I think about building community, I don't think about paying for it at all. Like, true, real community is not pay for play, because you're going to have a load of people that can't even be in that community because they can't afford it. So really, it's kind of just becomes like not so much wealthy, but like a privileged club, like for people that do have the disposable income to pay. So you're not really gonna as well be around maybe a very diverse group of people. Like there may not be people there that are from working class backgrounds or people from lower income backgrounds and so on and so forth. It's probably going to be kind of the same demographic of people. And is that really a community? I don't know. I also wonder if people who go to these things, because they put such an investment of their money into this, does it kind of create false relationships? Because kind of with sunk cost fallacy, because you've paid for it, you're like, okay, I really need to make this work. And I wonder if the people that go to these things, it may not really be people they vibe with, but they're like, you know what, I'm just gonna try and be friends with them anyway because I've paid for this. So I do wonder, are there actual strong connections and real friendships and community that have come out of these things? If anyone listening is a member of any of these things or have gone to these sort of meetups and apps and clubs and have actually found like true friendship, I would love if you would comment below and let me know, because I would actually be really fascinated to know, are these people making relationships or are they basically networking? So you go to this club, you go on a hike, you take pictures, and that's it. You never really interact outside of that. Again, if that's enough for you, great. But for me personally, that is not good quality socialization. Like, that would not be enough for me. That's what you would go to work and do. You go to work, you're pleasant, and you talk to your colleagues, and that's it. It doesn't go deeper than that. For me personally, if I want friendship and community, I want something way more deeper and personal and connected than that. But I guess because I'm coming from the point of view of someone who is on a lower income and has been unemployed in the past, that's what really makes me uneasy. Like, it feels I think discriminate is too much of a strong word in this case, but it does kind of feel like a filter to keep the poors out and the undesirables. And I noticed this with a lot of these kind of friendship meet things, is that especially when they are paid, you're not going to get, say, someone that's on benefits. There's not going to be a lot of disabled people, because some disabled people, are on lower incomes or have no incomes at all. So I don't feel very welcome, to be honest, and safe in those sort of places. Even if, say, I could right now, money fell on my lap and I could afford to go on these retreats or join these 60-50 quid a month membership things, I don't think it's the sort of vibe I would want to be around, because it feels too exclusive. And again, if it is a club, whatever, that's fine. But if you are trying to kind of sneak it in, Trojan horse, under the guise of building community, I'm like, well, no, this isn't community, because there's going to be such a large chunk of the community, especially like, say, the area like I'm in, the city I'm in, Nottingham, it doesn't have the highest incomes. There's going to be such a large chunk of the community that can't even get involved or join. So I really hate that aspect of it, and I think that's why I'm so against these so-called communities being monetized, because it's just a farce. Just say you're a business, say you're an event business, that's fine. No one would bat an eyelid, no one would care, because events are paid for. But stop putting it under this build your tribe, build your community. No, that is so disingenuous and predatory. The new kind of social thing, it seems, with definitely middle and upper class people, is paddle. I thought paddle was like a sport. I thought people played it to keep fit and sport, but it's actually become a social club thing. So I was just reading, there's like a paddle club in York. They applied for a license to sell alcohol, which is crazy, because again, if you're going to be ordering alcohol there, it probably is because you're socializing. And it's not just a paddle court. They've got like a clubhouse, a shop. Especially, I saw there was a story in London. It's becoming the new kind of social thing, is joining a paddle club. And oh my goodness, they are so expensive. Like, some of the courts are like £100 for an hour, which is absolutely insane. And then that won't include the drinks and the alcohol, whatever you're buying. But paddle seems to be kind of the new upper middle class social thing. And at least, and I've noticed again, a lot of these paddle companies framing it as, oh, build and find community, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I can't actually believe people are falling for this. But this is the vibe a lot of these kind of friendship meet things are giving me, is like these paddle clubs. And I'm tired of the monetization of hobbies, especially with the stuff like reading, hiking, book clubs, things that shouldn't really have a cost in the first place. Tired of the monetization of hobbies, and just, yeah, tired of the monetization of free time and communities. So, apart from the loneliness epidemic, I think a lot of these businesses know as well, people want to find more fulfillment outside of work. So, they want to make sure they don't just go to work every day, go home, and go to bed. They want to go into socially fulfilling things. So, I do feel like they kind of prey on that too. And it also doesn't help there's a lack of third spaces. I think that also really doesn't help. And I do understand, like, some of the, I don't get charging a membership price. I think that's so cheeky and ridiculous. But I do understand, say, oh, they're doing a holiday or retreat. Yes, you got to charge people for that. But I feel like it should be, if you're charging, or you say there's a venue hire. I see like the sip and paint events are super popular at the moment. If there's venue hire or material costs, charge people just what the costs are to cover that cost. There shouldn't be profit. So if it was like, I don't know, 50 quid to hire the venue and it was £10 for art supplies, charge price the tickets in a way that is going to cover that 60 quid, and that's that. Because I see the argument, oh, I should be paid for my time. No one's forcing you to start these social clubs and communities. It's something you've chosen to do. And again, if you did want to do it for pay for your career, just put it as an event business. If you put it as an event planning business, that's fine, but don't put it under the guise of friendship and building community, because then I'm of the opinion, no, you shouldn't be paid for your time. And especially when you're organising, say, a picnic in the park or a walk outside, why the hell are you profiting from that? That hasn't cost you anything. So to wrap this up, yes, I do think these I'm going to call them fake communities, monetized communities, are completely predatory. I think they're classist. That's the word I was looking for earlier. I think they're quite classist, and they skeeve me out. They make me very uncomfortable. They gross me out, and I don't want any parts of them. I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Have you joined any of these clubs, or have you been getting ads for them? I'd be really interested to know. What do you think about this topic? Do you agree that, it's kind of predatory and not right to charge for these things, or do you think they're totally justified in charging for them? I love to hear all points of view, so please do comment below. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great rest of your week.